Oh, hey. I'm just playing this little game. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's this little game called Marvel Rivals. I know it's kind of a niche little thing. I kind of invented it, but honestly, it's so niche that I don't think I even know who half these characters are. I mean, Bruce, Emma, Iron Man, Spider Man. Who the fuck is Spider Man? No one's gonna want to play as this guy. They should add a real character. Like Sonic. Marvel Rivals has taken the world by storm since its launch in December. It's attained a status that I haven't seen since Prime Overwatch, and the effect it's having on people is totally normal. We're about 4 months out now from launch, and in quick play, you still rarely see a wait time longer than like 10 seconds for a match. They definitely have an advantage because they got to use the Marvel IP, but still a year ago, I never would have imagined this game could become this successful. And the success that you find in this game, I believe, has impacted the public perception of Marvel in a huge way. I mean, if you told me 6 months ago that I'd be opening Twitter or Instagram and seeing hundreds of posts about Mr. Fantastic, I never would have believed you. Most people prior to Rivals didn't really seem to care at all about the Fantastic Four. Now I can't go 2 days or 2 minutes, it feels like, without seeing fan art of the Invisible Woman or Mr. Fantastic. You gotta think, prior to this game, the biggest publicity the Fantastic Four got were 3 really bad movies, the most recent of which became infamous just for how terrible it was. The way that this game was able to basically immediately turn around the perception of these characters and have them become beloved is just insane. And it's not just them. This game is introducing a lot of characters without many, or in some cases, any major adaptations at all to the wider public. And for the characters that have seen major adaptations before, people can now see them in more comic accurate styles with more comic accurate personalities for the first time. So many people now know and care about these characters like Squirrel Girl, Magic, Jeff the Shark, Emma Frost, or Luna Snow. And Luna Snow only has 18 total comic book appearances. None of those are solo series, and 4 of those are from Marvel Rivals promotional tie-in comics. She wasn't even made for the comics. She was created for a mobile game called Marvel Future Fight only in 2019. And just in case you're not very familiar with comics, let's compare her 30 total issues of appearances with Iron Man, who, if Wikipedia can be trusted, sits 3,354, and hundreds of those are from his own solo series. Basically what I'm saying is the fact that she has this much popularity with this little content is insane, and it shows the reach of this game. Basically at this point, if you're in any online spaces or gaming spaces, you're gonna see her nearly every day, be that in fan art, clips of the game, or people cosplaying her. But how did it get this popular? I mean, even with years of movies and shows, Rivals has inspired in people an interest in the wider Marvel universe that I don't think has been captured in the eyes of the general audience since the peak of the MCU's popularity almost 10 years ago. So how'd they do it? It's really no surprise that any game with Spider-Man is an easy sell, especially when it's free. And in this game, it's not just Spider-Man. You got Spider-Man, the Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. You got really everyone's favorite hero in this game. And it doesn't matter that the average person doesn't know who Psylocke or Magic are, because they're gonna come for Spider-Man and they'll learn as they play. But it does go beyond simply playing as the characters you know. There are a ton of systems in place to make sure that not only do all the characters play unique, but also with a style that suits them individually and makes them feel larger than life. Spider-Man can fling himself across the map at incredible speeds. Doctor Strange can open portals across space. Luna Snow can heal or damage enemies with her ice. Iron Man and the Human Torch open fire from the skies. Battles reach this massive scale that tear the maps apart from the chaos. And don't get me wrong, I definitely have moments of being really frustrated by that destruction mechanic, but I also still have moments of awe from watching this massive attack go off or this huge team fight that just leaves the area decimated and reshaped from the power that these characters have showcased in this arena. They don't do this alone. It is a team-based game. But what sets this team-based game apart is that certain characters achieve specific combos where they unlock new abilities together. Venom is able to give both Spider characters a symbiote burst ability. The Hulk and the Thing are both able to perform the famous fastball special with Wolverine, hurling him through the air. Emma Frost can make her fellow mutants, Psylocke and Magneto, able to spawn projections of themselves to confuse enemies. Iron Man can siphon gamma energy from Hulk to make his attack stronger. I could go on, but this is the mechanic that I believe really sets this game in its own league. In terms of gameplay, it adds a whole new layer to how you choose to compose a team, because not only do you want to synergize your team around their own strengths, but also the value that you could potentially get from choosing specific pairs. More importantly, it's fun. It furthers that very comic book feeling of a crossover special or a team-up event. There's a whole new layer of added connection between these characters as we see the ways they can use their powers to create new combos and new attacks. And seeing heroes team up and interact like that is a massive part of the appeal of comics or any connected universe, to see what these heroes can accomplish when they work together. The perfect core for a team-based shooter. And that brings us to... The thing that got starry-eyed 12-year-old little me to want Overwatch was the cinematic trailer where Tracer and Widowmaker are fighting on King's Row. I remember being just stunned by how cool those characters were. It felt like being placed into the middle of this comic book story, seeing this massive conflict and seeing these rivals with this clear history battling over the fate of something so important. Immediately, I wanted to play as these characters. I wanted to know what happened next. What's gonna be the fallout of this assassination? Where are Tracer and Widowmaker gonna go next? How could this failure affect Tracer in the way that she might approach battles in the future? And that's the thing that was so incredible about Overwatch, is that it was able to place us into the middle of this ongoing conflict with a brand new world and brand new characters to us, and get the whole world to fall in love. It's easy to forget with Overwatch's current reputation, but it won Game of the Year in 2016, and no one was really upset about it. This was one of the most beloved games in gaming history for a time. I remember me and my friends waiting super excitedly for the next cinematic to drop. I remember being told for the first time that there were lore on all the maps, like taking Doomfist's Gauntlet to somewhere safe, or delivering an EMP through King's Row. I was always ready to see what would happen next in this world, because so quickly, I had come to care about all of these characters and the story they were building up. But very quickly the story became static. Not much changed at all for the entirety of Overwatch 1's existence. We would get new lore here and there, we'd get more backstory, but we really never got to see what happened next in the story, which is the question on everyone's minds, obviously, is what's going to happen next. And that was Blizzard's big bargaining chip with Overwatch 2. Was that they were finally going to put more focus on that story that everyone had been waiting years to see progress. And then they canceled all of it. Overwatch 2 remains to this day completely online. And this is where Marvel Rivals diverges. Rivals handles its lore in a lot of very similar ways. A lot of it is fed to the player through text descriptions on the loading screen between maps and by just listening to what the characters say to each other over the course of the missions. Just like Overwatch, this gives us a little more insight into these characters and into their motivations and their relationships with each other. But where I believe Rivals surpasses Overwatch's storytelling is in having a story that actually develops as we play the game, because each season presents us with a new setting and a new story. In Season 0, the heroes were placed in this battle between two Doctor Dooms. At the beginning of Season 1, we learned that while our heroes were busy fighting Doctor Doom, Dracula took over New York. So now Season 1 introduces new maps and new skins based on this new premises as the story is developed and moved forward. Now we're fighting Dracula in New York. After defeating Dracula, the heroes are given an invite to the Hellfire Gala, hosted by Emma Frost on Krakoa, which leads directly into the events of Season 2. But I don't think it's great just because it actually has a progressing story. The story also organically introduces new elements to the game. The Fantastic Four were introduced in Season 1 because they were in New York fighting the vampires as the first line of defense. Season 2 just introduced Emma Frost as a playable character because she's the one that's hosting the Hellfire Gala. The new maps they introduce are also always built around the story going on in that season. And on top of all that, they're also constantly adding new skins that are relevant to the current story. We learned in Season 1, if you read the lore, that Black Panther had been turned into a vampire. And after Season 1 ended, we got a skin of Black Panther's vampire transformation that you can purchase and use. And most of the Battle Pass skins for each season are the characters dressed up or in certain attire for the event that's currently going on in the story. Also, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this free-to-play hero shooter has some must-read, must-pay attention to pure literature story that's groundbreaking, because it's not. But it's something, and it's good. It's awesome that you get to see the story progress as you play it. It feels like on this journey you're actually going somewhere and you're not just playing it for no reason. Not that there's anything wrong with just enjoying an online game for the gameplay, because I can do that too, and there are plenty of games that I play and love that are just like that. But I just think having that extra little layer of story adds a lot of texture to the game. Every character gets their own lore sheet where you can see what they were up to prior to the game and how they got into the situation. You can learn a little about their relationships to each other and what they're going through. And new ones are continuously added with each season, just for certain individual characters, so you can see how their story is continuing and what they're going through now. Also, by completing quests and playing each season, you unlock items that tell you the lore behind certain maps, and comic book panels that will detail to you the story that went on throughout the season. There are also, of course, these just cute little details they add, like Marvel's premier vampire hunter Blade was locked up in Dracula's castle in Season 1, and now that he's been defeated, Blade is now resting peacefully in Wakanda. Also, this is kind of unrelated, a little side note, but did you guys know that Wakanda in this game is a ring world like Halo? Like it's like Halo? Because I didn't realize that for a very long time, but you can look up and see the curvature of it and realize that you're on what is essentially a Halo ring. And that's cool, because Halo's awesome. I just really appreciate how much effort goes into this story building. You know, 99% of players are never going to read these lore entries, but they clearly put a lot of effort into them, into creating this big cohesive story, and it makes it, for people like me, really exciting to be waiting for the next season just to see where things are going to go, what's the next setting going to be, what's going to happen to these characters next, and what can we expect. And my favorite thing about this game being so lore heavy and character heavy is that it gets people invested in these Marvel characters. Even if you don't read a single lore entry, you still can see these characters through their interactions in the missions. You can see the way they interact with each other, the way they bounce off each other. Some of them hate each other, some of them love each other, some of them are family, and some of them are begrudging acquaintances, but you can come to an understanding of their dynamics and who these characters are just by the way they talk, waiting for the missions to start. It's always my biggest hope with any adaptation of any comic book media that it might create more fans. And with how much effort and love has gone into these characters in this game, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this would cause a lot of people to pick up comic books, especially with tie-in comics that they're making. So it's giving them a starting point right there. To me, it seems very intentional. Like, it feels as if they're trying to get people to care about these characters. They put so much time into making sure that they're always bouncing off each other and that they have these fun dynamics for you to pay attention to, and I'm sure that it will create more fans. I can only hope that we can see more companies try something like this in the future, like maybe DC. Hey DC, do you guys think you're gonna do anything? You're gonna make any cool games?
No, I don't think so.
Well, why not? You guys made the Batman games and those are awesome.
No, I just don't think so.
Come on, you've got some of the most iconic characters ever. Why don't you?
No, I don't think so. You can have Gotham Knights.
I don't really want that.
Oh, what about the Suicide Squad?
No, I'm good. How about that Wonder Woman game?
No, we canceled that.
Oh, what about a Superman game?
No, I just don't think so.
What about something with a bunch of your characters together, like a Justice League game or something like Marvel Rivals?
We have Multiverses.
Oh, yeah, you do. Can I play it?
No, we delisted it. But you can be Batman in Fortnite.
Oh, that's neat. I guess. Can I be Superman?
No, he was in the battle pass.
You know what? I'm done. Video's over. See you guys.